Okay, guys, here's a short video to help you figure out how to interact with the Cortex controller inputs when we're attaching sensors or motors. Okay, first of all, what you want to keep in mind is that all builds are going to use a Cortex. So you're going to need to know this information because it's going to come up. So keep that in mind. Now, when we're interacting with the Cortex, there's three areas to be aware of. There's analog, there's digital, and then there's the motor area. And most of these interact with sensors that are 3 pins, except for motors. Motors use 2 pins, but we'll be talking about that a little more in a moment. So analog ports, there are a total of 8, and they all are 3 pins, and they're typically used by line followers and potentiometers. Then we have digital ports, ports 1 through 12, and these are also 3 pins, and they're used by bump switches and limit switches. And keep in mind that the black wire always faces out towards the numbers. Next, we have motor ports, and motor ports, okay, the motor port is a little different, the motor area. It uses 2 different types of pins. If you notice, look at this. It has 10 total ports, and number 1 and number 10 are different than the rest. They are 2-pin only, okay? Same with the other sensors. The black wire will face towards the numbers. And let's look at the other option. So if we're using ports other than 1 and 10, that is, if we end up having to use ports 2 through 9, we're going to need what's called a motor controller. It's a special wire that basically converts the motor from being a 2-pin to a 3-pin wire. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And once again, the black wire faces out towards the numbers. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind is that these pins are on these sensors are really delicate. They're easily broken, and you want to make sure that you treat them gently. Here's an example of some pins that have had some problems. So here's one where one of the pins is broken off. Here's one where both of them are broken off. It's easy to do if you don't know what you're doing. It's easy to break them off. So never force pins. Always be really gentle with them. Hey guys, when using Vex Robotics, you're going to need to, at some point, plug sensors or motors into your Cortex. And this is a short video on how to do that. There are 2 types of pin ports in our Cortexes. There are 3 pins and 2 pins. Now the 2 pins are motors. You only find those in motors, okay? And the 3 pins you will find for pretty much everything else. Now, it's really important that when you plug these in that you're very careful, because these pins are very delicate. They can bend, they can break, and they only go in really one way. And I want to talk about how to do that. So first I want to talk about how to plug in a 3-pin sensor. So what you need to do is obviously determine where it goes, whether it's digital or analog or motor. In this case, I'm going to be showing you how to plug in an analog sensor into port 1. Now, notice that there are 3 different color wires. Okay, there's black, red, and white. You should know that the black wire always faces out towards the numbers. Okay, and part of the reason for that is that you've got a little slot right here, and that little slot is meant to go into the Cortex, just like so. So when you're plugging it in, gently slide it in like so. Now, you should never force it. You should never have to force it. Okay? It should slide right in. Now, this particular Cortex doesn't have the plastic cover that keeps the pins from falling out. I want to show you how to do that on one of those as well. So I'm just going to pull this right out, directly right out, and show you a Cortex that has the plastic cover. Now, this is what I'm talking about right here, this plastic cover right here. It's really simple to use this as well. All you need to do is put your finger on it and pull it back, and then you can slide the sensor in.
just like that. And what it's meant to do is keep it from being pulled out on accident. When you want to take it out, all you need to do is pull back the plastic piece and just gently pull out. It's as simple as that.